Hi Lara. What I want to do is just to run you through what I've done with your website, and obviously I've been working very quickly on this, so there are aspects of it which are a little bit rough around the edges, and also some things aren't finished, some things you may not want the way that I've set it up, and I'm looking forward to that feedback. But I've effectively put in place a whole lot of functions on your website that will allow us to primarily run the workshop, and also um, as looking forward into time, some of the functions which you might need to look after your clients. And it also demonstrates a technology stack on a website that might be the basis upon which I can make my presentation and my service to other customers as well. So I've got the website open here on the left hand side in a browser logged in, and on the right hand side not logged in, and I'm going to go through that now. First of all, you'll see I've tried to incorporate the color palette that you sent. I've got limited visual design skills, but I've done my best. So, for example, there's some consistency amongst all the pages with respect to headings, accent colors, and that runs through most of the pages and also the blog posts. I've also put the logo left there. I think that looks um, and it would definitely benefit from the expert eye of a visual designer. Okay, now one of the things that you'll notice if you look very closely, there's a link at the bottom in the footer which allows us to easily access some of the content which is not ready yet for public viewing, but we still need to make public because we need to test it. So for example, a link to the free ebook, which is a lead magnet generator, a link to the workshop, a link to the supporting self-study course, which I've added to your website, and account cart checkout, and also the courses page. So this is just a good compromise between having a website that's more or less ready to go to the public right now, but then also having other pages in development. Okay, now as you can see, I've installed quite a lot of plugins here, and I've also removed some of the ones which were causing some issues. Um, the I suppose the linchpin, the foundation of all of this is the CRM, which is called Groundhog here, and these are the list of the contacts that it has gathered so far. It's early days, so it's gathered all the existing accounts, user accounts on the website, user accounts being down here, and I've been using my xiaomi.com.au email address and account as a kind of a test. So yeah, back into contact. So the idea here with this CRM is that you can use it as the basis for funnels. And as you can see, this user has been placed into a number of funnels here. One of the great things about this is that it's email-based marketing, so it keeps a track of what emails have been sent to a person, and also keeps track of whether they've been opened or not. And if there are any special links in those emails, it will keep track of those as well. So it does all of the standard email-based marketing stuff, but within your website. So the other thing it does is it integrates with WooCommerce and the learning management system. So it's keeping track of what this customer has purchased, and their orders there are shown. So that's really useful. And their enrollments are shown there. So that's also really useful. You can send emails directly from the website, so you don't need to use your own email account. And of course, if you do that, it will keep track of those outgoing emails. So that's nice as well. This notes area here is a repository for the inquiries that are made using this form here. So the contact card here is a really nice central repository for your customer data. And as you can see, it's also driven by tags, and these tags are used by the integrations and the automations on the website. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this account, start from scratch. I've got my email over here ready to go, and I'm going to run through what's going to happen through various actions on the website, just so that you can get an idea of what all of this is set up to do. Now, one of the things to bear in mind is that Groundhog is a CRM, and it can do funnels, but these funnels are primarily email-based marketing. So I'll just show you an example of the long-term nurturer. So this is a funnel that is triggered when any product is purchased, or when anyone becomes a member or a subscriber. And so it waits a little bit and then starts sending bi-weekly or two-weekly nurturing emails. And its primary means of actions is to send emails. Now that's in contrast to on-page funnels. That's taken care of by another plugin called Cart Flows, and this is the sales funnels, if you like, leading up to let's have a look at one of this ebook lead magnet here. So how it manages the cart, how it manages order bumps and checkout offers and upsells and downsells, and that's all taken care of by, so here's a checkout offer here, by Cart Flows. So there are effectively two CRMs working, not CRMs, two funnel plugins working in tandem, and they are aware of each other, but one is primarily email-based marketing funnels, and the other one is on-page marketing funnels. And of course, the on-page marketing funnels helps when we don't have an existing account for a person as yet. Okay, the other major plugins on this website is WooCommerce, which is the e-commerce or shopping cart function, and this lists all the products here. So I've got a product for each of the major aspects, and that could be a workshop, or it could be a download, or it could be a membership, or it could be a course. And the reason for that is because for all of these things we might want to create an account, a user account, and WooCommerce is really good at doing that. So even for a free ebook, for example, we're going to get someone to make an account, and that of course means that we can put them into an email-based marketing funnel. So there is conceptually a duplication only in name, for example, for the product, which is Small Business Workshop the 6 Fundamentals, and the course, which is similarly named. So when someone purchases this product, they get enrolled in that course, and a few other things happen as well. And also the both the Cart Flows as well as the Groundhog CRMs are keeping track of what's happening in e-commerce, in WooCommerce rather. Now, I have mentioned courses, and it's not something that you and I've specifically talked about, but I've installed a learning management system called LearnDash here, and I've chosen that one because it integrates well with WooCommerce as well as with Groundhog and Cart Flows. So, and the thing about a course is that it is a nicely organized way to present information. So for example, for the 6 Fundamentals workshop, we could have a complimentary course, and as you can see, I've started laying out the structure of that course, and so it's a nice repository for the material in the course. You can insert text, you can insert video, you can insert quizzes, and keep track of someone moving through that course. So for the attendees, they will see something that's nicely structured, and also for the presenters, they feel like they're in part of also something structured. This course will be really useful if we find that we need to deliver the whole workshop online. And so the idea is that we're going to give access to each of the presenters here so that they can upload their material into this course. And that means that the workflow for us running the course, managing the course and pulling it all together is going to be easily managed as well, because this becomes the repository of their input. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building out my section, operations, as an example for all the other presenters. Okay, so running back to here, the reason we've got the courses is because the material is presented nicely, and also we can have a product in WooCommerce provide access to a course. And that basically means that we've got a membership function, but it's a nicely organized membership function. Okay, now I will talk about another membership function which is also installed on this website a little bit later. But that's the reason why I've installed a course. And also I'm bearing in mind, Lara, that you mentioned you've got your own material that you want to develop, and so this will be a nice example and framework for you to develop your own course material. Now I'm going to delete this user, mike@xiaomi.com.au, so that we can demonstrate their journey through this website, and so that we can see also what happens behind the scenes with the funnels and the cart flows. And I'm going to delete from the WordPress users as well as from the groundhog contacts, and also I'm going to delete all entries associated with the inquiry form. Do that as well. So I'll just do all that and then we'll restart the video. Okay, now let's have a look at what happens when someone makes an inquiry, and just bearing in mind that I'd like you to think about it with your marketing background and come up with requests for what you would actually like to happen here. This is just my go at setting it up, but as you'll appreciate, there's a lot of flexibility here, and so let's talk about how to make this optimized. So this is a really low barrier, just a simple inquiry form. But what's going to happen in the background is firstly this form is going to be logged here in this list, and then also the form is being triggered by is going to trigger a funnel. It's going to trigger this funnel here. So let's just open that funnel up. Right, so if this inquiry form is filled out, the fields are mapped into the contacts list in the CRM, and then we're going to apply a tag to that inquiry. So effectively, we've got their contact details, and we're going to be able to do whatever we want with them, subject to GDPR laws, of course, later on. And then we can send an acknowledgement email, and that's going to be sent straight away. That email is shown here, and of course the structure and the copy of this email needs to be developed, and I'll look forward to what you're going to do with this, because I think this is the first opportunity to establish that rapport with the potential customer, the lead. Okay, and then it's also going to send an admin notification. All right, so that's what's going to happen. So let's check this out. I'll submit this form. Now at this stage, the form is just going to keep the person on this page and just display that message. However, we could then divert them to another page, such as, for example, our landing page for the workshop or another page, but that's all possible. Okay, so the form is logged here, so that should pop up there, and that allows us to view all the entries here. Great. Okay, and then because that person has been captured by the CRM, they will now have a contact created. See, that's the person that I deleted there before. And so if I click into their contact form, we can see that it's applied that tag inquiry, it's captured their name and details, it's applied an owner, which is just you at this stage, and it's also captured a couple of other bits of information from their IP address. It's had a go at that anyway. And let's see, and it also kept track of where the lead source was. Now, if you look at the activity here, you can see all the steps that the system is applying to that person. And so this is the inquiry dual forms edit funnel, but it's also placed them in the long-term nurture funnel, because that funnel is triggered by the application of the tag. So this one here. And so, you know, leading through what happens here, you can see that a lot of funnels can be triggered just by a simple action of filling out a form. Okay, so right, so they're in that funnel as well, and that long-term nurture funnel has these nice emails which are, let's see, listed here as well, which also need copy. Okay, so simple action on the front end, but a lot of stuff happening in the background. At the very least, we've captured their lead, we've placed them in a couple of funnels, and we could divert them to a landing page as well. Okay, now the copy in the emails in the long-term nurture funnel is important, because people are going to be placed into that funnel. This is typically what that first email looks like, and the second and third kind of go along the same path. But imagine if then, after having made an inquiry, somebody actually makes a purchase on the website, and then we probably need to take them out of that long-term nurture funnel and put them into another funnel, because depending on the wording here, we haven't heard from you in a while, are you still interested? That may not be appropriate, and we can do that in response to actions like purchasing a specific product. We can take them out of this long-term nurture funnel, put them in another funnel, like a maintenance funnel, for example. I haven't set that up as yet, but that's certainly something that we can do. Okay then. Okay, so now let's have a look at how the cart flows works. So I'm going to bring up cart flows here, the flows in cart flows, and we're going to run through a purchase to see what happens. Now, what I might do is go through the Small Business Workshop 6 Fundamentals purchasing process, and then I'll have another look at the ebook lead magnet. And what we may do is actually tack the ebook lead magnet onto the end of this make an inquiry, so we might have to look at that at the end. But firstly, depending on the call to action on the home page, or maybe we can funnel people to from other events, the landing page for this Small Business Workshop, the 6 Fundamentals, looks like this. And as I mentioned before, I've just had a go at the visual design and the call to actions layout, but I bow to greater expertise. Other people can do this better than I can. But the functions, the technical functions, are controlled by cart flows. So let's have a look at the flows associated with that. It's just a 3-step flow. This landing page is what you're looking at here. Then there's a checkout page and a thank you page. Now, even more so than the inquiry form, there's a lot of things happening in the background when someone steps through here. But effectively, what cart flows does is controls the progress, the page-to-page progress of someone, and it also provides a nicer look for the checkout. Let me show you. Okay, so on the right hand side I'm not logged in. On the left hand side I am, and so this is that landing page, and then any of these calls to action, the buy now button here, the register now for early bird discount, right at the bottom here, register now, they all lead to the same next page, which is a combined checkout page, and that is a lot better than a standard checkout page. Okay, now just to show you what I mean, let's just open a standard flow. Okay, so imagine in a normal circumstance, someone wants to purchase this thing, they'd be going through, where is it? The workshop, where is it? The workshop. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so they would view the product, then they would add to cart, and then they would view cart, and then they would proceed or apply the coupon, for example, maybe there, then proceed to the checkout, and then they would have to fill out all these forms or all these form fields, and finally get to place an order. So that's a lot of steps. We can do a lot better with cart flows. Just before we have a look at cart flows, there's a couple of things here as well. It's difficult to modify these standard checkouts, and it's also difficult to do upsells, order bumps, checkout offers, and such. So let's have a look at what it will be like using cart flows then. Is that we want to smooth this process out as much as possible and reduce the number of steps. So the very next page is going to be a checkout that looks a lot better, has fewer fields, and also has the order pre-placed into the checkout, and we're right here now being able to place the order. And there's also an order bump here, as you can see. And okay, so let's see on the right hand side here. So pressing buy now or register now. Okay, and that takes us through. All right, that's good. So I'll just pop the email address and other details here. Actually, just before I do that, I just want to show you some of the options here, because obviously the layout is far different, and that all comes through cart flows here in the design. So I can alter the appearance of this page in quite a few different ways, and one of the things that I've done is introduce the color palette that you gave me, so the text and the headings and all of that pick up styling from the color palette, button colors and things like that. And obviously there's more to be done here, but it shows you what's possible. Okay, in addition to that, we can also define order bumps, which you can see over here. Let's have a look at that. And while that page is loading, you can see I can actually add a number of order bumps here, all on the same page. So I can select a product which becomes the order bump. And what I've done is I've actually created a product called One-on-One Expert Session, which you may have noticed when we looked at the shop earlier. And so that, and we can discount the price on that if we want. And we can look at the design of that. There's a couple of different styles. We've got control over text colors and all of that other stuff there. We can even make that arrow flash if we want, which I've decided is not a good idea. And also, altering the text that's shown there, particularly on the calls to actions. And you'll know better than I do about what text makes for more effective calls to action. So that's the bump. And then what's also going to happen at the next stage is a checkout offer. And so that would be another one of the products that I've defined with the potential for a discounted value and some copy to go along with that. So you'll see that in just a moment. Okay, one final thing then, you'll notice that I've added a create account password field here. And that is because we want to we want the a full account to be created with the purchase of this product, because that's going to allow all of our automations in the background work most optimally. Particularly the groundhogs contact based funneling. So we're going to give them an opportunity to create an account password, and it will monitor the strength of that password. All right, so that's okay. And also you can, let's have a look at the order bump here. If we look at the order bump, that will automatically add that there. And we can also add the coupon. So for example, NRG coupon can be added there and removed if necessary. So the idea with the NRG coupon will be that we just give that coupon code to NRG members via another channel. Okay, and if they decide they don't want the bump, they can remove that if they like, and it will all just refresh. Okay, great. Also, we've got check payments as an offline payment method, as well as Stripe. Stripe's in test mode at the moment, so we can just drive this using these example details. And then we can place the order. And what's going to happen then is that we're going to end up on the checkout offer page. So let's try that. Now, before I press this place order button, I just want to return to the idea behind this password. Normally what happens in a web application like this is that in the creation of an account, people need to go and check their emails, and in their email will be a welcome message and a link to set a password and log in. But what's going to happen is that I've set this up so that it will automatically log in the person with the email address as their username and this password as their password, and that's all we need to create an account. So why don't we do that? And you'll notice that the only change here visually is the fact that this login button will turn into a logout button. Let's do that. Okay, and here is the checkout offer as well. So as you can see, that's controlled by this information on the left-hand side there, and I'm guessing that depending on the offer here, you may get quite a lot of people taking up whatever the checkout offer is. This is just an example, but you may be able to think of something more appropriate here. So if I press yes thanks, it will get added to the existing offer. No thanks, then it won't. Okay, and we're going to pause just here just to consider what's happening in the background. Now there are two funnels here that are going to be activated by the product being put into the cart. And I'll show you how that works here. It's going to fire the cart abandonment funnel as well as the long-term nurture. If they're not already in the long-term nurture, the fact that they have placed a product, or in fact it will be when they complete this purchase, they're going to end up in this nurture funnel as well. They won't get entered more than once. In other words, if they're already in that funnel, that's okay. It'll take no action. But if they're not already in that funnel, it'll place them in that funnel. Additionally, this step in the cart abandonment funnel is detecting that something has been put in the cart, and it's going to apply a tag to that. Something has been put to the cart in against that contact, and then it's going to delay. Now, this has been set to a really short delay at the moment, 3 minutes, just so that I can test it and demonstrate it. But let's say we'd set that to 3 days, or maybe 3 hours. And then it's going to send an email. And of course, the copy for that email needs to be written as well. And I can show you that later, and then another delay and another email. And then so we can try and recapture someone who gets to this point and then backs out. If they proceed with the purchase, then we'll skip down to this, what's called a benchmark here, and an email will go out saying thanks for purchasing. So I've deliberately paused here because what I want to do is trip this timer so that at least one of these emails goes out. Okay, so I'll check the email in a moment. That's what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, so I'm just checking my emails here. A few minutes have passed, and as you can see, both of these emails have gone out. So it's gone through that first one and the second one. In fact, the first one was sent a couple of times, so I'll need to figure out why that was. But that's okay. And then, of course, it's not going to bother anyone after that because that's how we've designed the funnel. But we can design the funnel however we like. In addition, because I've added tags to the contact at the beginning and at the and sort of midway through this funnel, if we look at the contact card for this person, you can see those tags. This product added to the cart and the cart reminder. So we can filter for contacts that have had a cart reminder, and we know that that means that they've reached the end of this cart abandonment funnel. So we can manually chase these people up if we wish. So and we can do that over here. Oh, and by the way, that earlier inquiry is shown here as a note. Okay, so let's go back to the checkout journey. Now, once a person has completed a purchase that logs them in, they can then look at their My Account page, and they can view their own orders and subscriptions if there are subscriptions. And any downloads, and we'll look at that in a moment when we look at the ebook lead magnet, and membership. And they can also modify their own billing address, shipping address, account details, such as, for example, their email address and changing their password. So having logged them in makes it a lot easier to manage that. I've also made it possible for them to easily get to whatever courses they've been put on. And you'll see here there's a link now to premium content, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But next, I'll just look at the lead magnet function, which is, let's see now, the free ebook here. Okay, let's have a look at that. Video, I showed you how to make an inquiry form allows us to capture a person's email address simply by the fact that they make an inquiry, but we can bump that along a little bit, of course, by setting up a lead magnet, which effectively captures the same information. Um, and in this case, I've created a very simple PDF document which could be replaced with something a little bit more special. So you may find it beneficial to put a call to action to this uh, lead magnet here. And again, I've just had a go at the layout and copy here. Obviously, there's a bit of work to be done there. But basically, what would happen is that the call to action there. Yes, I want my free copy. And of course, it's going to be setting up an account for them if they haven't already got an account. And then they have a link to their free ebook. So I'll just show what happens when you click that. And we can save that or open it. I'll just open that. Try that again, sorry. And there's the ebook downloaded and opened on their desktop. Also, if they move off this page, an email will be sent to them with this information, and if they're logged in and they go to their My Account page, they can now look at downloads. There we go. So and the downloads can be configured to expire after a certain amount of time, and also after a certain number of downloads. At the moment, there's no limit on that. So that's a nice way to implement an ebook based lead magnet strategy. And of course, having done all that, they're now in another funnel here, and so we can follow them up and upsell to them. And just checking there that email went out. Yep, that's right. And I can look at the email, and you can see that the email free ebook link is shown there, so that they're not going to lose track of that ebook. It's in their email. And then also because it's a purchase, and because of the way that I've defined the cart abandonment funnel, it's unlikely here because it was a zero cost purchase, but the cart abandonment funnel was also triggered by that action. As you can see, cart abandonment funnel, but then that was yep, that's right. So the product was purchased in the cart abandonment funnel here, so the reminder emails were not sent out. Okay, so that works really well. Okay, so finally then, the last thing I want to just run through is what I mentioned earlier, which was to do with the membership function. And this is in the context of the courses that I mentioned as well. That if you want to control a person's access to particular content on your website, you can do it in a couple of ways. You can create a learning management system and then put that content in those courses, and then you can control the access to that content using enrollments, which can then be controlled by the purchase of products. And that allows you to present information in a nicely structured way, which makes sense. But sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you just want to make content available to premium members, and also you might want to make that content available via the purchase of a product. But if we look at our options there, let's have a look at the premium membership here. Yeah, you can see that I've set up a premium membership product with a subscription. It doesn't have to be a subscription. It can be a one-off purchase. That is one of the beauties of using WooCommerce. So let's just bring up the WooCommerce products here, and we'll have a look at that product those product settings at the same time. Okay, that's a premium membership there. WooCommerce is a really good e-commerce plugin. Generally you can do almost anything you want without having to pay for extras. Coupons, for example. And in this particular case, subscriptions is an add-on, but I've got a developer license, so I'm making this available. So you can make a product a simple subscription or a simple product. Simple product would be a one-off purchase, and then that could trigger access to the membership. In this particular case, just to show you and to demonstrate this, I've set it up as a subscription, a yearly subscription of $67 with a free trial of 7 days. And that's shown here. If I have a look at that product, it's shown there. Now the way that I've set this up though is that if I press this button, instead of going to the normal cart process like other products would be, it actually goes to the landing page or the start of the flow for the cart flow for this product. And yeah, so I'll show you that in a tick. Okay, now before I go too far into this, I want to just explain what I mean by protected content. Protected content is content that would need a particular permission or particular privilege for that user to be able to access. On the left hand side, I'm logged in as an administrator, so I can see everything, and I've just set up an example page called latest tips here, that's linked here, and that is just a tiny bit of content that is only going to be viewable to people who are both logged in as well as who have a particular tag applied to them. So if we look at the Mike Smith test user here, these are all the tags that are applied to him at the moment, and the particular one that controls visibility to that page is not there. When I edit that page, I can say, okay, I want this page to be restricted to only people who have this tag, member tag. And as you can see, Mike Smith doesn't have that. So if I try to look at this page on the right hand side, it won't work. Let's try it. Okay, so I've pasted that URL there, and it's diverted me to the premium membership. So I've set up a redirect there. If anyone tries to access this page, it sends them to this page. Whereas if I'm an administrator or a member with that tag, I will be able to see that page. So it's all about controlling pages using tags. Now, how does Mike get this tag and gain access to that page? Well, that's through the purchase of this product, which happens to be set up as a subscription product. And as I said before, it could be a one-off purchase or it could be a subscription. Now the other thing as well is that I've set this up so that the normal cart behavior doesn't happen here. Instead of going to a normal checkout page, like for example, if I did this one here, it would be add to cart and then view cart and so on and so forth, unless I define a cart flow. Instead of that, this one is going to take me straight to the cart flow that is set up for membership. And the cart flow that is set up for membership starts with a landing page that looks like this. There we go, to sell the premium membership. So let's go through that process and see how that works. Okay, so if they go via the shop, excuse me, to this sign up, press this sign up call to action, then they'll end up at the start of that cart flow. Also, if I've set up another call to action here, join premium members, and it will take them to the same page via that membership, or I could send them directly to the um, directly to the to the landing page for this cart flow. All right, and then as before, all of the calls to actions take you to the next page, which is the checkout page. So let's do that. Just bearing in mind that I'm a user that's still logged in here, and there's a lot of benefit to having someone logged in automatically. So let's get started. And so now one of the things that I wanted to point out here is the information that's shown is quite upfront, that it is a subscription. You know, you can see recurring totals here. You can see how many it is per year for how many years, and this could be days or weeks or months or years. And also it mentions the free trial here, 7-day free trial. So at the moment there'll be a zero cost, and the first renewal is in 7 days time. That's right. And also I can again add an order bump. If I add an order bump, you'll see that the initial purchase is now no longer zero. So there's an argument for not putting order bumps here, but really that just depends on the situation, I guess. What we want is a nice low barrier to entry, and a zero cost is certainly going to help with that. Okay, and in this particular flow, I've defined an order bump here, but also a checkout offer again. I don't need to do that. It's really up to you. Okay, so we can go through this process with the Stripe card again, the test Stripe card. I like this test mode for Stripe. That's really good. And we should get the checkout offer popping up. Yep, and so what we might do in this particular case is say no thanks. And the order is being processed. And as before, the cart abandonment funnel is operating in the background. If the person is not an existing user or contact, they'll be added. And so here's the order that's been received. That's fine. I'm still logged in here. So again, I can look at my account, and now the subscription information is here, and the trial period ends in 7 days, and they can actually cancel or change the payment there. So I like this because the person is in full control, and I think that's really good. The other thing, of course, now is that they'll be able to access that premium content page, latest tips, because they have that tag applied to them now. So if I just refresh over here, we should see member, that tag there. And if I want to remove it, then they won't be able to have access to that. And so this is a really nice way to build a membership function, because we can have the tag system controlling access to pages, not content within pages, but it works at the page and post level and product level as well. So you can have different areas of your site accessible by different people depending on what you've defined. That's really nice. Right, so and of course in the back end we can keep track of what forms have been filled out. We can also keep track of sales through WooCommerce, the homepage there. Haven't set all this up yet. We can also use something called Jetpack to keep an eye on other metrics. We can certainly have a look at our orders here, and that gives us a nice overview. And let's see, cart flows also gives us some statistics here, total revenue, and also looks at the order bump revenue and the offers. And so we get some good information in the background there. We also can see contacts as they appear in our list, and we can use funnels and tags to to filter. So we can have a look at all the members, for example. We can have a look at all the customers. We can have a look at all the people who've downloaded the ebook. And for each particular person, we can see where they are in what funnels. We can see what emails have been sent out to them. We can see what activity they've undertaken in WooCommerce, and also their learning management system activity as well. So this is a pretty comprehensive package for a website running a business of practically any type. And this is all held, of course, within the hosting for the website, so everything is in the one place and can be backed up in the one spot. And you don't have your user data stored on third-party sites or offshore. So as you can see, that's been a lot of work to set up, and it's what I would call a typical tech stack for comprehensive website, which would address the needs of small business up to probably a medium enterprise. And the capacity of this in terms of the number of products and the number of contacts is really only limited by the hosting capacity. One of the things to bear in mind is that we need to have a mail handler so that our outgoing emails don't end up in spam boxes, but we can do that. I've yet to set that up on your hosting, but I'll do that. So one of the things that you'll have appreciated is that I need help with the copywriting, because there's a lot of copywriting associated with all of these emails and the pages, and particularly the landing pages, the order bumps, and checkout offers, upsells, downsells, all of that stuff is going to work a lot better with a skilled copywriter. And of course the visual design also needs looking at as well. So I'm really good at the back end technical stuff, but I think working together as a team, and we just need to find one more person to help us with the visual design. Anyway, thanks very much, and I'm really looking forward to getting this working and the workshop. This has been a long video to produce. It's dark outside now, and I started, it was full daylight, but it's been good practice for me, because this is more or less what I want to present to the people in our workshop as well. Great, thanks.